I'm Chris Fox, and today let's talk about how to make money as a creative. How do you make money as a creative? Now, this is not something that is going to be a step-by-step process. It's not going to be something that's ever easy in any way, shape, or form. Really, what it comes down to is understanding who you are, what you like to do, and trying to achieve with that. Now, this is something that I think anybody in the creative industry, in the creative realms at all, whether you're an artist or you're a photographer or you're something in between, it's discovering who and what you are and who and what you want to be. What does that mean and where are you going? It can get really complicated, and trying to make money along the way makes it even more complicated. It's been said by a number of artists and writers and a number of other creatives that unless you have some sort of suffering in your life, you're not going to be good at creating something. Yes and no. I mean, it definitely inspires, but there's ways around that. And really, it's hard to be creative in a workplace when you're miserable in that workplace. If it becomes an escape for you, which is fantastic, it is for me, you're going to have a hard time staying active in that workplace. Eventually, you're going to end up hating that workplace. So you have to learn to embrace a working environment and then also embrace your creativity without having a struggle. There are a number of YouTube videos out there, there's a number of blogs and websites and anything else, even services that'll sell you something that say, this is how you can make money as a creative. Now, granted, some of those are valuable, some are not. It's kind of, you got to weed your way through them. I use some, I don't use others. It's a challenging thing. But really what it comes down to is there's a lot of basis that you need to understand to really even make money as a creative. First, a little history. I started my college career as a pre-med major with a physics emphasis. I was always good at math, and I just looked for the thing that would make me the most money because of what I could do in the world. I quickly realized that I hated it. I hated every moment of it. Still good at math, still hate it now, but it's one of those things where you have to understand who you are and what you want out of life. So I switched my majors, and this was a good 10 years ago, give or take. I switched to being an English major. Now, English Lit, even better, English Lit with a philosophy minor. So really, many would joke, I decided I never wanted to make money, ever. Take that as it is. Instead, what happened is I learned to understand what I wanted to do day to day in my creative world. After I got out of college, I struggled for a long time trying to find I guess you'd call it a big kid job, call it what you want, but when you cruise through Monster.com or Indeed.com and you type in writer, there's not a whole lot of options unless you want to be a technical writer. Technical and creative are not necessarily the most conducive things, so I found myself struggling. I eventually found my way into B2B journalism, which is an interesting place, and actually that is a good place to start making money as a creative. In the world of B2B, you have to weave in and out of some of the more complicated relationships, and you can't be as creative as you probably want to be, but it's a start. I get to write for a living and all these other things. But what it eventually came down to was finding a real avenue where I could be interesting and creative with what I was doing and have it be involved with something I'm interested in. Mike Rowe at one point said,
"Never follow your passion, but always bring it with you."
Now that's probably the most important piece of advice I could give anybody that's trying to make money or just exist as a creative in this world. Some might argue that this might be selling your soul a little bit. I disagree, but I'm also a product of it. If you look to the world of marketing to expel your creative exploits, you'd be amazed at how cool that ends up being. For instance, again, like I said, math is kind of something that I'm good at, but I really don't like. I also have found myself in the world of engineering and manufacturing. Two things that are very often not very interesting to a lot of people. But when you can put a creative twist on some of that stuff, you can see some incredibly cool things. If you've ever heard of the Maker movement, it's amazing, and this is something that kind of marries all of those worlds and then smashes it against something that's like Burning Man. What you need to do is really explore not only your peripheral interests, but your creative interests, and see what happens. So if you like what you've seen, hit that subscribe button and click the little ring-a-ding bell right below it, because that'll notify you when I'm creating new videos. And of course, while you're down there, give me a thumbs up, maybe a comment, something like that. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you want to talk about. I'm here to learn with you, and so let's have a good time. I'm Chris Fox, and in the world of B2B, there's so many things.